Hey folks, what is up? I'm sorry for the, sheen on my forehead and me. I got the bright light overhead. Not much I can do about it right now. There's my phone again. So you have to deal with, for now. Anyways, until I maybe figure something better out. Looking a little rough. I'm sure a lot of people do. The lockdown that's been going on. Not a lot to do out there, not a lot of reason to be motivated, which is working against me. I was at my lightest about 322. I'm currently probably around 335, which is not good. My weight should not be going up. So I'm in a bit of a fight with it right now, trying to keep it from going up. I do have a treadmill that I'm not using, which I'm really disappointed in myself about. I'm trying to get back to using it, but I'm also trying to keep myself busy now. So my ultimate goal is to get back on that treadmill and start walking again. If anything, to try and maintain my weight until I can get health insurance again, which probably won't be until next year. And then I can get a revision on my sleeve done to help me finish losing weight. But my goal for now is to not hit 340 during this lockdown and to try and get my weight to start slowly reversing. It's not going well right now, but everything's an uphill battle, and the trick to winning a battle of attrition is to not never give up. So that's what I'm doing, weight-wise. That's not to say everything's terrible. I mean, there are a lot more people out there that are suffering right now that not only don't have jobs, but don't have income. Still having issues getting the unemployment. I had the benefit of seeing ahead, and schools were some of the first things to close, so I filed for unemployment immediately, and I got in ahead of the wave, so I had my account set up and ready to go. So I've already been collecting unemployment for my school bus, plus I still have my PCA job, which also got a bit of an hourly boost to help deal with the virus pandemic right now. I also have delayed my truck payments for 4 months. I believe I'm in my third of 4 months. I don't owe anything on my truck until like July. So that's saving me $500 a month for now. It'll cost me a little bit more in the long run, but for now it's making things fairly easy for me. It's allowed me to save up money, and it's allowing me to survive and do well. I know my bed's a mess with my little boy sacked out on my blanket. It's just one of his favorite spots. Um, but I mean, I've been doing well enough that I've been able to get, and you can see it, yeah, out there, another grandfather clock. I have two now. I wasn't originally going to, but I've really been kind of wanting a grandfather clock that does Westminster chimes. And that chimes on the quarter hour, not just bongs on the half hour and then bongs out the hour. Now, don't get me wrong, I still have the other clock. It's on the corner. I don't know, I may have mentioned this in my last vlog. I don't remember if I had it or not, but I'm going over it now anyways, just in case, and hopefully I'll remember it next time. But that clock, that cherry one, the smaller one, which I believe is more of a grandmother clock than a grandfather, it keeps perfect time. It has kept perfect time. That other clock out there, I've been tussling with adjusting the pendulum on it to try and get it to the right proper running speed. But it is so beautiful. It's an Emperor grandfather clock. It has hanging brass pipes that are the chimes rather than the usual metal chimes that like my other one has. It's weight driven with cables instead of chains. So it's key wound instead of the chains which you pull, which is what I really wanted, but I could have gotten one too, but the person never got back to me. I saw a chain driven one, but the person never got back to me. So I got that one out there. And I think it's really beautiful. It looks beautiful. It's got some little marks and scratches on like the pendulum and the weights. But I'm really happy to have it. It's really a beautiful clock, and it's something that's very rare, such as having the hanging chimes. If I've looked things up correctly, I have found the Emperor website and all the grandfather clocks on there. There is not a grandfather clock on the Emperor's website, and these are modern grandfather clocks, like that one out there. That's a modern grandfather clock. We're talking anywhere from $3,000 to $4,000, and I got it for $300. So I am very, very, very happy about that. I may send it out to a clocksmith to get it looked over because there would be like a few little catches about it, but other than that, I'm really content with it right now. And then I don't know where that thought process was going, but wherever it was going, it's got there without me. I've also recently, as in yesterday, purchased a grill, a brand new grill. My first brand new grill. I've owned like charcoal grills. This is my first brand new gas grill. I prefer charcoal. Don't get me wrong. I prefer charcoal, but I'm into the convenience at this point more than I am the authenticity. So I'd rather a gas grill at this point. I bought a brand new beautiful gas grill. Huge cooking area. It's got the little stove on the side, the bun warmer on top. It's got a searing section off onto the right. It's got this big pedestal. It's got a temperature with a huge hood on it. And it's just beautiful, beautiful, beautiful grill. $500 grill. $500 grill. I didn't pay $500 for it. Yes, I did get it brand new. Right up the street from me is a hardware store. I have no idea how to pronounce the name. I don't know. It's Obrons. I don't know. It's a popular hardware store in the area. I walked in there, and I see all these grills. I'm looking them over. This one's 230. I know. I want to stay in the like the 200, 250 range. This one's 250. This one's 239. I'm looking. Yeah, this one's okay. This one's okay. This one's like. And then I come across these two grills. Both of them are marked $299. One of them is my grill. And I can tell that grill has a lot more options and is bigger than the other one marked $299. My mind quickly put two and two together and realized that bigger grill's marked wrong or on sale, one or the other. And it was one. It was marked wrong. The guy clipped the price off it. He went to ring me in. He had something else to do. Plus, I had to grab a grill cover because the grill's staying outside for now. I had to grab a grill cover, and I had to grab a propane tank and get that filled. So I had to get all that done. And then I ended up being rung up by the manager, and the manager rung me up, and then they went to help me get the grill. She looked at the grill, and she goes, "That's not the right grill." I went, "That's the one you took the tag off of." And she pulls out her phone and she's digging through it and she looks at it and she goes, "This is supposed to be this grill." And she's pointing to the other one, the smaller one that I was looking at. And I go, "Well, he took that tag off that grill. You can see the grill doesn't have a tag on it." And she goes, "Yeah, I know." And you could tell she's pissed off. I would be too. She was pissed. And then I know somebody's losing their job. I mean, I wasn't doing that on purpose. And it sounds like this is not the first time it happens because I heard he can't keep doing this, mumbled under her breath. So somebody's losing their job over it, but that's something I think they've been repeatedly doing, not paying attention. So I got a $500 gas grill for $300. I'm very happy. I've also gone around and I've been buying a lot of things, collecting things, spending money I mean, I've actually been doing good in saving my money, say from buying some artwork and maybe some video games. But I've been doing really good. My account's been climbing until recently where I've just kind of gone off the rails for the last, I don't know, I got the grill. What else did we get? Oh, when I went shopping, I bought all the food and stuff. Yeah, I kind of went haywire buying food and stuff. I probably spent around $400 on like food and whatnot. Then I bought the grill, which is another $300, and then there's something else I bought. I forget what. Not the grandfather clock. It was after that. And now I'm going to buy a couple curio cabinets so I can start properly displaying some stuff in the other room.
So
I'm also buying some collectible Funko Pops. I'm not a big Funko Pop person, but they're collectible, and this person is being forced to sell them because they lost their job. So that's another reason I'm looking into buying them. And I've bought a couple Funko Pops. Carmen is unfortunately staring at the wood again. I also have Ghost Spider up there somewhere, or Phantom Spider. He's probably the one that fell. Something fell last night when I banged the cabinet by accident. That cabinet's not staying in. That hutch is not staying in there. At least the top isn't. I'm going to remove the top and do something with it. I don't know what yet. I want to keep the bottom so I can put stuff on it. Yeah, he has a bobblehead. Let me see. You see, I'm not one to keep things in boxes, and I know that may infuriate a lot of collectors, but I'm not. I'm not a box person, so boing, 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 boing. Yeah, I take them out of their boxes. I know they don't stand very well, and if Carmen's anything to go by, but I don't keep them in their boxes. It's just how I am.
I got a few Funko Pops.
So I take them out of the box, but I do keep the boxes for the most part, and I keep them in pristine shape. So that's the kind of collector I am. But unfortunately, I have knocked things over. Things have fallen. All Might, one of my All Might statues, broke one of his foot bases, but he still stands on his pedestal just fine, and you can't tell unless you pull him off the pedestal that it was broken. I've had a couple other things happen. It gets bumped, it gets knocked over. I don't want that, so I'm getting some curio cabinets to put in the other room. I'm going to transfer stuff from here into the other room. I'll figure out what to do with that shelf, that hutch top, and then that's just coming out, and then all the collectibles are going to start going into the other room. That includes that there, as you can see behind me. That's going to go into the other room. And I may even pull the bureaus out of here if there's, I want to pull at least one of the bureaus out of here, but maybe try and get both bureaus out of here and put them into the other room as well. And just kind of like open up a little more room here. By doing that, I'll open up that window back there, even though I want to put a low bureau over here, or even a table and put my TV and stuff on there so it's down lower and it's not up so high. And it'll open up that window over there behind the bed, so we can open that up, and can put an air conditioner in here when the summer comes around, because we're going to need it. So that's what I'm looking to do there. But otherwise, things have been going pretty well, Had a bit of a scare up until today that, my girlfriend may have ended up pregnant, but no, she wasn't. We're not. I was prepared to accept it if it happened, obviously, but it's not something we were quite ready for. It had been a scramble, so to speak, to get ready. But we found out today that no, she's not, which is a good thing.
We knew earlier, we just didn't have any kind
No,
of
we weren't sure because those tests can return false positives.
false negatives, too.
That's still considered actually a false positive. It's either positive you're negative or positive you're positive. But anyways, if she hadn't started by today, I was going to buy some more tests tomorrow and go over it again. But no, we seem to be okay, or we might be. It's not the first time that you've had a little bit. And
It's not like, oh, it's a little bit. Yeah, no.
Well, we'll make absolutely sure tomorrow. But yeah, things are going really well. There's not a hell of a lot to update on, other than I'm struggling with my weight again. That comes from not having a routine. Going out to work all the time like I was, going out, driving charters, driving school, doing all this stuff, that made a heck of a lot of difference in keeping me busy. Now I've got all this time to sit around and think and be bored, and so I'm reverting back to what I used to do, which was eat. So it's a little bit of a struggle. It is, but I'm hanging in there. I'm trying to reverse things, trying to keep myself a little busier, a little bit more active. It's actually easier to work out in a gym than it is to work out at home for me, because the gym I'm not distracted by the things that are home, like my computer. So I've got a whole bunch of new games I'm probably not going to play, or play very little of, like Turmoil. I bought Mud Runner, played with that a little bit. Snow Runner, which you may or may not know about. You'll see if I haven't uploaded it first. I probably won't. I bought Doom Eternal, but I'm trying to finish the original Doom first. I have Assassin's Creed Origins. I want to get Assassin's Creed Odyssey if I don't already have it. I actually purchased Slime. No, I didn't purchase Slime Rancher. I got Slime Rancher for free. I just never started it because it was on Epic Game Store. Well, that's changed. I've got Chimera Squad for XCOM, something else I may do recordings of. I'm not 100% sure, especially considering I'm going to start from the beginning again. So there's my other clock. Yeah, what I like to call the grandmother clock. That is a cheaper clock, I believe. It's definitely smaller, and it is so lightweight. I can literally just I could wrap one arm around it and pick it up. That's how lightweight it is. You know, it's like picking up a really thin, tall child. It's just.
Thin, tall, made of wood.
But I'm trying to keep an eye on the other clock to see if it's running behind and how far, or if it's running ahead. Because again, I've been working on adjusting it, and there she is. That clock has been touchy, not just for its running time, but last night it stopped ringing altogether. I noticed that for almost an hour I never heard it. Then I went out and checked on it when this clock, the grandmother clock, was ringing out the hour, and realized, it's not ringing. So I fussed with the switch on the side that selects the chimes, which didn't work right. It just didn't work right. It could only go up so far and down so far. It didn't go all the way down and all the way up like it should have. And it bonged a little bit, and it would bong out the hour, but not nothing. And then I just finally gave up, and I went to sleep. And I went out this morning, and I fiddled with the switch again. And this time the switch is moving just fine. There's nothing wrong with it anymore. And it's ringing the Westminster chimes perfectly again. It's supposed to be able to ring 3 different chimes. Westminster, I think St. Peter, and then something else. And then it has where it only rings the hour and then completely silent. That you can select on it. So either way, I still love the clock though. It's definitely the bigger clock. It's definitely the better sounding clock. But this clock is like, they say like clockwork. It is just perfectly accurate. When it ticks 6:30 over here, it bongs 6:30 there. Without question. I haven't had to adjust it since I got the clock. Hi, Bella. Hey, come here. Yeah. Yep, I still have Bella. What are you, about 9 now? 8 or 9? Maybe 10? No. Obviously I had her when I had Koa. Koa passed away when he was 10. Let's see, you were about a year old when my wife passed away, maybe 2 years. So you're not even 9. Wait. Oh, here comes jealousy. Here comes jealousy. So, that was 5 years this year. So you're only like 6 or 7. Yeah, you're only 6 or 7. You're not 9. And you're going on like 2 or 3, aren't you, Bruiser? Yes, Bella likes to be the caretaker. She licks eyes, ears, and face of the other dogs, cleaning them. But she does not like to be licked, and she will let Bruce know that, who continuously tries to clean her eyes and do the same to her. She is the true representation of no give, just take. So you can go up here for now, sweetie. But now that I've rambled on for almost 20 minutes about my life. There's really not a lot to update. I'm going to give you all the chance to stop the video right here and now. Why? Because things are about to become political.
Oh
I
no.
I cannot live in this world and not talk about this. I have never been political in my life. I have not cared about who was in the White House or what they did, as long as my life was livable, as long as I was making money, as long as things seemed reasonable to me, I was happy. I have never cared who was in the White House. I do have presidents that I liked more than others. I actually like Bill Clinton. He's one of the few presidents in this in this world to come around and actually leave the White House in a surplus rather than a deficit. I like Teddy Roosevelt. I like FDR. And I like Kennedy. Some of my favorite presidents. Abraham Lincoln as well. Those are my favorite presidents. Matter of fact, they should make another Mount Rushmore. And they should put Reagan, Kennedy, FDR, and somebody else, I don't know who, up on the second Mount Rushmore. Could do another 4. But be that as it may, for the first time in my life, I have truly cared about who's in the White House. And then I am sick and tired of the orange baboon that's in there right now. Okay? And I, for one, I wish I was one of those. This is the one time in my life I wish I was actually a big YouTube channel that held some influence. Because, quite frankly, I would be telling fans, and I'm going to tell anyone who sees this video, who's thinking to subscribe to me now, if you're a Trump supporter, you're welcome to stay, but I'm going to tell you right now, don't argue with me. I will kick you off my channel. I will ban you. I know my channel is a little nothing rinky-dink out there in the ocean, not even a drop of the YouTube waters there, but regardless, I hate Trump. I hate Trump. I hate what he's doing. I've hated him since he's been in the White House, but since the virus has started, my hatred for him has become tenfold. It has become tenfold. I am sick and tired of Trump. He continuously changes his story. He continuously lies. If he was in a court of law, he would have been, he'd have been in jail already. His trial would have been long since over because he would have been continuously switching his story and lying under oath. He says he always knew it was a pandemic, but yet in the months leading up to it, he kept saying, it's just going to go away. It'll magically disappear. We don't have to worry about it. There's nothing wrong. We only have 1 case. We only have 15 cases. We only have 20 cases. We only have 35 cases. Now we have somewhere around 1.3 or heading towards 1.3 million cases. We have over 72,000 people dead in the United States alone, and those numbers continue to climb as states start to reopen that aren't even close to ready to reopen. If you want to know what kind of man Trump is, let me break it down for you like this. He's a self-made billionaire that started with daddy's money. He had over $7 million when he was still a little boy. He's a shrewd businessman who filed for bankruptcy 6 times with hotels and casinos. How do you go bankrupt with a casino? And it's not just one casino. Multiple times he had to file for bankruptcy with casinos. He's a religious/Christian man who's never gone to church. And he's an honest man who has continuously blocked crucial evidence and witnesses from making it into investigations about him. Need I say more? There's somebody out there that says, that figured out Trump is that he cannot allow himself to be viewed negatively. He can't stand to be viewed negatively. He has this, it's not even I mean, there is narcissism there. There is megalomaniac there, I believe. But it's more than that. It's that he can't stand the thought of being wrong. He can't stand the thought of being looked down upon, of something being his fault. He can't stand the thought of somebody being better than him, which is one of the reasons he continuously attacks the Obama administration, because he's constantly compared to it as being the president that has come on after that. He can't stand that. He can't stand that. He can't stand feeling inferior, and that's more than narcissism. He has an inferiority complex. He really does. Or superiority complex. He needs to feel superior. He needs to be the big boy. All the attention always needs to be on him. He's got all the worst traits of anybody who could be in the White House. I mean, they've basically had to take his presidential briefings and turn them into picture shows using video, rather than him being able to read and do things that every other president before him did. He ignored the warnings for the virus since November. It's been shown and proven that he has completely ignored the virus since November and didn't take action until March. His ban that he likes to tout around even to this day about travel from China, no. Over 400,000 people from when the virus was first picked up in China were able to come to the United States. And his ban in March only prevented Chinese nationals traveling from China to the United States. It still allowed for another 40,000 people coming from China to get into the United States. And they were never detained, they were never quarantined, and they were never tested. He at this day today says he doesn't understand why there's a need for testing. I don't understand why we need testing. And yet he and his staff are tested every day now, because some of his staff members, one of his staff members and two of Pence's staff members has turned up with the virus. And even then, because of that, he says, well, I don't know why we need testing. See, you could not have the virus, and then all of a sudden, boom, you have the virus. He doesn't get that's the point. You keep testing, and you continuously test. So if somebody does get the virus, you can isolate them, and you can trace back who they've been to and who they may have gotten it from, and this. He likes to tout the numbers about the number of ventilators that he's got now and the number of masks and gowns. And yet, people are still having problems and issues getting personal protection equipment. He says that the states need to handle it, that he just wants to be a cheerleader. The federal government just wants to be a cheerleader. No, the President of the United States is not a cheerleader. The President of the United States is the leader. You are the head of the federal government. You're the most powerful individual in the United States in terms of authority. You are the president. You are there to lead through this pandemic. You are there to lead through these problems. Not turn at the states and go, it's up to you. He's done that because he wants complete and total ability to say, it's not my fault. Whatever states blow up with the virus, whatever issues they have, whatever problems they come in, he just wants to be able to say, it's not my problem and it's not my fault. They didn't have enough ventilators, well, it's not their fault. They didn't have this, well, it's their fault. It's not my fault. Because this way he doesn't have to take responsibility when things go horribly wrong. And they will go horribly wrong. States that are still trending upwards are trying to reopen. I'm going to rewind things way back here to the Spanish flu back in 1918, where the government failed the people back then as well, because the government failed to tell the people and failed to put forward the severity of the flu at the time, because they were fighting a war and they didn't want to disrupt the war efforts. So they never told the public. Now, obviously we know, because information is a lot easier to get nowadays than it was back in 1918. But back then, because they did not take the measures they needed to, because they did not do the things they needed to do, because it was a different type of flu and not just a standard flu that had come out, 625,000 people died to the Spanish flu. And that was in the United States, I believe. The latest projections that were put out not too long ago, not the latest now, but not too long ago, from the University of Washington said they projected if things continue to go as they were, 75,000 people dead by August. We're somewhere around 73, 74,000 people now. As a matter of fact, let me get the specific numbers up to date right now. Oh, we're over 75,000. Okay, the projected numbers. The projected wrong window. The projected numbers for the deaths were 75,000 deaths by August. We are almost at 80,000 deaths, and we are still in the beginning of May. 1.345 million people. We're missing a 2. I really don't want to see 12,345,000. It's just 1.345. 1.345 million people have had confirmed cases. Only 236,000 known recovered cases. Okay? As of right now, with the recovered cases of 236,839 versus 79,997 deaths, that is a 25% mortality rate. I know what I said in a video earlier, and I'm going to get to that, okay? But let me just continue on with this. Let's see if this projections link works. They're saying it's going to project downwards. I don't believe it. They're projecting by August it's going to be 78. I don't know where they're getting these projections from. I really don't. And there's a very large margin for errors in all of these. But I don't know where they're getting these projections from. But they're projecting by June we could see as many as 3,000 deaths per day in the United States by June. They've gone from 60 to 70,000 to reprojecting between 100 and 200,000 people dead by this virus. That this virus is going to come back in the fall and is going to overlap with the flu. Do you know what would happen if the flu and the coronavirus was both something to be worried about at the same time? You want to see a medical infrastructure collapse? You want to see hospitals be overwhelmed? Oh, but that's not all. That's not all. That's not all. Let me go back and touch on what I said the other video first. I know I said that things really aren't that bad. Back then they weren't. And if they continue to take the precautions, the social distancing, closing things down, and keeping schools closed, and not allowing for big gatherings and all of that, the projections would have been low, and we might have been able to taper off the virus slowly over time. But because of what Trump has done and the inactions of what he hasn't done, all that went away. All of that's gone away. Doctors, experts, specialists, scientists are all terrified of what's going to happen because Trump wants good economic numbers, which is the only thing he has left to base his election on. Look how good the economy's doing. You know what? There ain't going to be an economy by election because nobody's going to want to go out to start with. From the Spanish flu of 1918, it took to 1922 before people started really congregating again in large crowds because people were afraid. And most people in this United States are still afraid. Most people in this United States, between 70 and 80%, want the country to remain closed. It's a very small minority that want the country opened, including Trump, which is the unfortunate part because that's what's driving it. These protests that are going on, and I was absolutely flabbergasted when I found out there was one in Massachusetts. And it's a good thing I didn't know, because I might have gone up there and run some people over just to thin out the damn gene pool. People protesting to get the country open. People believe what I'm about, the things I'm about to tell you. People believe this. And if you're somebody that believes this, get the hell off my channel. They believe that the Democrats are inflating the numbers, that every website, every single website that reports by getting their information off various individual independent sources, they're all run by Democrats, and the Democrats are inflating the numbers, and that the hospitals are actually empty. There's only a 0.005% mortality rate. Everything's a big lie because they just want Trump out of office. They still believe the virus is a hoax. I cannot fathom the birth defect you have to be born with in your head to think this is a hoax. I cannot fathom what it takes to believe that the Democrats are lying just because they want Trump out of office.
Not just because the Democrats, the freaking entire world.
But the conspiracy theorists are blaming it on the Democrats. I cannot fathom the amount of stupidity you need to have to go through this and believe that. I can't. And in Michigan, they took it to the worst. People with automatic rifles, AR-15s, in the Capitol building of Michigan. Let me ask you something. Had those same people marched on the White House with those guns in hand, how far do you think they would have gotten? I don't think they'd have gotten very close to the White House before they were just shot dead. And yet they thought it was okay to bring their guns to the Capitol building. I know that in Michigan there's supposed to be some law that you can carry a weapon into the Capitol building, but not under these circumstances, not as a near riotous protest. There was a story not long ago about a doctor who committed suicide because of the strain of dealing with the virus. And they caught the virus themselves. They worked very hard. It was a young woman doctor, worked very hard, believed in helping people, ended up catching the virus, recovered from it, and went right back to work, and worked herself so hard and worked herself so much, the strain of working at everything, and this was a woman, I believe, in New York, the strain of dealing with everything, all the patients, the overwhelmingness, and then having to listen to all the conspiracy theorists and all the people who think it's bullshit and all the people who are trying to force the country open. She couldn't take it anymore, and she snapped. Mentally, she broke down mentally. She couldn't take it anymore. She ended up killing herself. Fake? You want to go tell that girl's family that it's fake? You want to go confront that doctor's father and mother and tell them your daughter killed herself for nothing because it's all fake? Let me put out a direct message to anyone out there who hears this at any given point right now. And anyone's welcome to retweet this video. Anyone is welcome to do whatever they want with it. I don't care. Let me make it perfectly clear. Your right to have a haircut, your right to go out and get drunk on a Saturday night with a bunch of your friends, or to go to a sports game or a concert.
Your right to travel to a beach in
You,
Florida or California.
your right to quote unquote do what you want. You do not have the right to infringe on my right, my mother's right, my girlfriend's right, my eventual child's right to live. Cuomo said it himself. What's worse than death? What's worse than death? People these days cannot get along with being in captivity, more or less, for a couple of months. We have internet. We can connect through Zoom, through Skype, through Discord, through TeamSpeak, through FaceTime. We can play a multitude of games. We've got TVs. We've got all kinds of shows and programming. We can get together as families. We got all this stuff. The people in 1918 didn't have any of this shit. None of it. And they were under a harder lockdown than we were by the time things hit, by the time shit hit the fan. And you puss-ant motherfucking idiots can't stand a few months and you're already going fucking haywire? I don't like it. I miss going to my shows. I was supposed to go see Colin Mockery and Chip Bruce, whatever his name is, out in Lowell. I was supposed to go to AEW and see my first ever AEW event. I had a fucking Disney World vacation planned and paid for my birthday in June. It ain't gonna be open by then. And even if it was, I still wouldn't go. You're going to tell me that these people can't handle this? And that you're going to sit there and we have rights? Yeah, you know what? I have rights too. My mother has rights too. My girlfriend has rights too. We have rights to live and to be able to live in security, that we're not going to catch some sort of highly contagious and possibly deadly virus because you're too stupid to stay home.
Ooh. And what about the people complaining about unemployment? Ooh.
The unemployment thing, yeah, you know what? I know that some of you out there are struggling getting your unemployment, but to me, if you can hold on long enough, and Cuomo said it, you just got to try and hold on a little bit longer, you'll get your unemployment. You want to know how much I'm getting per week? You want to know how much I'm getting per week? And this is minus taxes. This is minus taxes. $900 a week. $900 a week. Even if I didn't have my PCA job, I could easily, even with my truck payments, live off $900 a week. That's $340, $350 that I was getting, plus the added $600 a week that I'm getting from the stimulus package. That $600 topped off done to what you should be getting for your unemployment should be enough to get you through this. And I'm sorry if you're struggling to get your unemployment. That is your state's fault of having older systems and getting things in place. But that still does not give you a right to endanger everyone else's lives just because you want to go back to work. It doesn't. It doesn't. I'm sorry. If Star Trek ever had a quote that fit anything, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. And those of you who want the country open, those of you who want to go back to work, that want to get drunk, that want to get a fucking haircut, you are the few. People like me, people like my mother, who if she end up getting the coronavirus, is a 99.9% chance to not survive. We are the many. We are the many. Every news outlet out there right now, except for Fox, every other news outlet, the Post, New York Times, USA, CNN, MSNBC, ABC, CBS, all of them, all of them, all of them except Fox are against Trump. This isn't just blue and red. This isn't left and right. When you have pretty much every single news outlet against you except for one, which, well, let's face it, there's a reason that that channel supports Trump. But here's something that's real fun. This is how bad Trump is. Fox News has recently said a few things that Trump doesn't like. So Trump has started attacking Fox News, calling them fake news. He is getting dangerously close to alienating the only news outlet that is keeping him afloat. The only reason he has the approval rating he does, which is terrible, is because of Fox News. If Fox News turns on him, he is definitely dead. I don't think he's going to be reelected. I really don't. I don't care. You could put a broom up against him and the broom would be elected president right now. And that's not an overstatement. I can't just believe the amount of stupidity I've seen. I have watched people, respectable people, turn themselves into stammering, stuttering, puppet idiots for this guy. Did you see when Trump mentioned about bleach and disinfectant and injecting it? Did you see the reaction of the woman he was talking to? Did you say when he said inject it into the body, did you see her jump? Did you see her flinch when he said that? And Trump at that time was saying he was being sarcastic. Yeah, he was so sarcastic that the FDA, the CDC, Lysol, Clorox, the attorney, the Surgeon General, all had to issue statements. Don't inject yourself with bleach. Don't ingest bleach. Don't do it. They all had to issue statements to do it. This is how sarcastic he was being. Now, mind you, he was saying, I said that to be sarcastic to see what you guys would do about it. These people issued warnings before the news ever said anything. And calls to the CDC jumped in people asking about injecting disinfectant into the body. Trump is incapable of understanding what it takes and what needs to be done to fight this virus. He is looking for a magic bullet. He is looking for that silver bullet to kill the beast, and it's not going to happen. You defeat viruses through wars of attrition. You defeat them through wars of attrition. And that's something Trump can't handle because he looks bad. And here's the stupidest thing about it all, is that if Trump would actually do his job, if he would call people together, if he would ask the country to be patient, if he did this from the beginning, if he put in the restrictions earlier, if he took things seriously from the start, do you know how popular he'd be right now? Fuck, I would support him. I would have supported him. Taking care of your people, taking care of your medical your medical programs, your medical health, your frontline warriors, taking care of your population is in turn in good politics. And in good politics, and you're taking care of the people, you get good business. People would understand about the economy. People wouldn't care about the economy if you continued to call them to action. Like the Prime Minister of Britain, who had to suffer the virus to understand what it meant. And he called his people to action. He called his people for patience. He sympathized and empathized, and he felt with them. And he said, please be patient. I know this is difficult, but as a country, we will get through this together. Where meanwhile, our leader is trying to incite individual wars. Because he's not happy with how his economy looks. He likes to tout how we were left with empty shelves. The Obama administration left us with nothing. Really? The Obama administration is the one that pointed out that a pandemic could be coming. That it happens every generation or so many generations, and that they need to be ready to react and respond. They're the ones that were starting to stockpile. They're the ones that put in a team that was meant to see, evaluate, and respond to this before it got this far, and that orange jackass dismantled it all, saying there's no reason for it. Ain't karma a bitch? Your coffers were empty, your shelves were empty. You were president for 3+ fucking years. What were you doing in those 3 years? Oh, I'm sorry. Holding rallies and golfing. That's what you were doing. You had 3 years if the shelves were empty to restock them. You're so smart. You have a good, yeah, you know. Why didn't you do something about it? That's no longer on Obama if that's the truth, which we all know it wasn't. That's your fault at this point. I mean, even George W. Bush, who I vehemently disliked, even Bush called for unity, gave a very empathetic, emotional, sympathetic speech. At this point in my life, I would welcome him back if it meant getting rid of Trump. He was a horrible president. He left the economy in shambles. This country was going to hell in a handbasket with him. But with Trump, we're not going to just hell in a hand. We're going on the express lane. And Trump likes to tell us, look at the economy I built. Look at the economy I made. You made it off the back of what Obama put in place after he fixed it from what Bush left it as. Your economy grew no faster than it did in the Bush administration. The only reason it's better is because it continued to grow in your administration. You're not a good businessman. You're not an honest man. And you're not a good president. You talk about fake news, you're a fake president. I would give almost everything I have. I would give nearly everything I own to be given a chance to sit across from you and debate. Sit across, stand across, give me a podium, I don't care. I would give just about anything to do that. I do not think myself a smart person. My girlfriend could tell you what I say about myself.
And I disagree.
Don't tell them.
I always disagree with everything he says.
I do not think myself smart. I do not think myself a great person. I definitely don't think myself handsome. All that. I have a very low self-opinion about myself. But that said, I think I could make a better president than Trump. Because at least I care about human lives. At least I have compassion. At least I have empathy. At least I would know to listen to the experts about things I know nothing about. And the fact that we have to suffer this idiot until November, actually until January. And you know when the time comes, when Biden defeats him, or whoever runs against him, because Biden's starting to face his own issues. I really don't care. He's not going to leave quietly. He's not going to leave gracefully. He's going to kick and scream and fight and claw and bite as much as he can, trying to say it's fake. Biden, or whoever it is, could win by a fucking landslide, could win a hugely decisive victory. Wouldn't matter. Trump would somehow say it's fake.
That it was a conspiracy.
It's rigged. The Democrats did something.
Oh no, I can just imagine it. Trump becomes the next Hillary Clinton.
No, Hillary didn't do anything.
I mean, the Hillary supporters, because apparently they believed that the election was rigged. So then...
No, there's a lot of people that believe the election was rigged, not just Hillary supporters. Yes, here's the greatest, here's the newest, here's the newest thing Trump, Trump isn't doing it directly, but you can tell he's got his hands involved. His former security director, whatever, this Michael Flynn guy, admitted guilty to lying to the FBI, which is a federal offense, to lying to the vice president, which is a federal offense. Pleaded guilty. These are open and shut cases. And the attorney generals and the Department of Justice, whatever, they're just going to drop the case. We're just letting them go. Yeah. You're fine. Go ahead. Go, shoot. And the president, Donald Trump, is the one that fired him, now wants to try and bring him back. You know, there's a Disney character that I think fits Trump very, very well.
Not even Disney. DreamWorks.
Who owns DreamWorks?
Even still.
Who owns
I
DreamWorks?
said still.
It's still Disney.
Mm.
Disney owns DreamWorks. Just like every Marvel movie out there is now a Disney movie.
Oh boy.
Disney owns everything. They probably own me and I just don't know it. There's a Disney character out there that I think is the animated embodiment of Trump. And that's Farquaad.
I pointed it out.
Egotistical. Megalomaniac. With superiority complex and inferiority complex. He's a little man who can't stand to be viewed as a little man. Who can't stand to deal with his faults and has made him a complete and total idiot. who is trying to become a king by any means necessary, who's continuously trying to compensate for his issues and his problems, even if it means sacrificing everybody else, which is the epitome of what has happened recently when people said to Trump that the death count is continuously to rise, that the projections are getting higher and higher and higher. What about the people out there as the country opens? And Trump says, oh, I view them as warriors. They're all warriors, each and every one of them. The entire American population are warriors, which means he's willing to sacrifice us for the sake of his economy. Some of you may die, but that's a sacrifice he's willing to make. I want you to think about this, because I could go on for another hour easily. I'm going to try and shut it down here. I want you to think about this. Your president, if you voted for him, is willing to risk your life, your family's life, mother, father, brother, sister, son, and daughter. He's willing to risk your life. He is betting your life, sacrificing your life, your family's life, your friend's life, anyone that you care about, your lives, so that he can have a pretty economy to get reelected on the back of. Because that's all he cares about, is being reelected. He doesn't actually care about the economy unless he's making money from it. He just wants it to look good, because that's what he wants to base his reelection campaign on, because that's all he has. And he will throw away as many American lives as it takes to try and get that economy looking pretty, so that he can sit there and say, see, look what I did. Look what I did. Look at how nice the economy is. After everything that had gone on, after everything, so many people lost their jobs, we had such a terrible unemployment rate. Look at how it's come back. Look at what I did. Just ignore the bodies that it's built on. Just ignore the corpses that are under the platform that we stand on to have this economy. Just look at the economy. You think about that. What's your life worth? To him? He doesn't care about you. He doesn't care about the American people. He cares about being reelected for another 4 years. That's all he cares about. In fact, I hope that if it looks like he's not going to be reelected, that he cancels the election.
You can try.
I hope he does. And you want to know why? Because even if they were to cancel the election, his term ends in January regardless. So if an election was not held and he was not reelected president, he leaves. He's no longer in charge, no matter what happens. But regardless, think about what I said. In a world where it's American lives, sons and daughters, mothers and fathers, sisters and brothers, versus a pretty economy to get elected on, he's willing to sacrifice you, me, and all of us just for that. Is that really a president you want? Rather than a president that would be willing to sacrifice his reelection as long as it meant saving lives? As long as it meant people lived, not as many people needed to die? Or would you rather a president that doesn't give a rat's ass about you? As long as he gets reelected, he doesn't care how many of you die. Because that's the world we live in right now. And if you think that's okay, then take off your mask, get out there in the world, and inject yourself with some disinfectant, and get off this fucking planet.